going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Threesome Show with me, Teflon Don. Or it's just Don, the unlicensed sex doctor. Um, I'm back for another week. We're gonna have some fun. We are gonna be talking about. Are y'all ready for this? Just sexual questions. All of the questions that people ask about sex that never get answered or get answered incorrectly. I did some research. I'm going to answer the questions at least semi correctly, partially correctly. I might get like one or two correct, but we could rock with it. We gonna figure out how to make it happen. So if you're joining in just now, please throw something in the chat. Middle finger, thumbs up. Let me know you are here. We're gonna have some fun. So I'm trying something. I'm trying two things different this week. One, I'm letting my beard grow in. I'm struggling with it. Don't quite know how I feel about it yet, but I'm gonna try to keep the party going. And I'm not drinking anything but sweet tea tonight. I am gonna be straight sober for this show. Let's see how that works out. All right, so I'm gonna save the most asked question for last, but I'm gonna go through the rest of them. Um, if you have a question, I'm going to say this a couple of times throughout tonight's broadcast. If you have a question, please pop it into the chat. If I don't know the answer, I'll research it for you while we're on the air. We'll get the answer for you. Um, so I guess, you know, we can jump right in. I don't have any man code violations this week. Oh, I don't have any man code violations, but let me tell you, I was down in Baltimore this past Friday. I went to a rooftop party and I met the coolest ladies ever. I actually have a video, and I have a video and I have a picture of them. I wasn't able to upload it for this week, but I'll definitely upload it for next week. When y'all see them, I'm not gonna tell y'all everything about them, but when y'all see them, y'all are gonna laugh the way I laughed the whole time. I could not put my phone away. I had to keep recording them. So I'll have all of that next week. Um, I'll definitely drop it in before the video, and hopefully I can eventually get at least one or two or all five of them on, um, because they were a laugh a minute, and I really enjoyed hanging out with them. So shout out to you ladies. You all know who you are. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump on into this. So all of the questions are not in order of the most asked, except for the very last one. Um, I'm saving that one because I think a lot of people have this question, but they don't really know what the answer is. And if you have a different answer than the one I give, I want you to throw that in the chat as well, because not everybody's going to agree to my answer. So the first question was, can you get pregnant during your period? Okay, so the answer to this one is technically you cannot. Um, Women are fertile for a very limited time during the month, and once you're on your period, you're no longer in a fertile stage. It's a very small window in the middle of when your period last went off and when it's getting ready to come on. That's the only time that you can get pregnant, unless there is a some sort of freak of nature type of situation where you have a second egg that's coming down during your period, which is extremely rare. Now, if that happens to you during that extremely rare period, you was meant to get pregnant. Don't fight the feeling. Just have the baby because that might be the next Messiah or something. So, number two um, is, how do I make sure my partner orgasm during sex? Um, this has been a popular question for both men and women. And the simple answer to this, for guys, if you're trying to make your woman orgasm, women orgasm off of connection. How much they're connected to you. Um, they orgasm off of their emotions. If they're not connect, if there's no connection, then I don't care how hard you work at it. You're really just boring her, and she's not gonna orgasm. Men orgasm off of friction. So you have to find his friction point that makes him orgasm. So for the ladies, what I'm saying is, if you're giving a man oral sex, you have to find that friction sensor for him that's gonna make him orgasm during oral sex. Just because you're down there and you're giving him head doesn't mean he's gonna orgasm. He's gonna enjoy it, but he's not gonna orgasm just because you're down there. All right. So for women, they orgasm off connection, and for men, they orgasm off of friction. All right. Next question. What do I do when the condom breaks? All right. First of all, pull out. That's the first thing you want to do. Second of all, you definitely want to make run. The second thing you want to do is you definitely want to make sure you get an STD test, because that condom was your barrier um, to prevent you from getting an STD. So get tested, but pull out. If you're trying not to get them pregnant, definitely get up out of there. Uh, let's see. Number cuatro. Yes, protect your neck. Facts. And your pockets. Um, does penis size matter? All right. I think this is actually close to the most popular question asked by men, not by women, because they already know the damn answer. Um, so, like anything, um, this really just depends on the person. For some women, it's not really the fact that he has a large penis that um, turns her on or makes her orgasm. It's the pain that it's going to cause. Um, because he's going to be hitting the walls, he's going to be hitting the back of the vaginal area. So it's going to be, that answer is going to be different for each person. For guys that are sitting there going, well, I'm not really swinging with 12 inches, and I feel a little insecure when I get into bed, don't. Learn how to make work with what you have. Learn where the pleasure sensor, excuse me, senses are on a woman, because even if you're not swinging with 12, you can still hit some pleasure senses, especially the roof of the vagina. Um, if you adjust the body the right way, you can still hit that. If you swing your body the right way, you can hit the walls. So, it just all depends on the woman. If it's a woman who enjoys the pain of sex, if pain brings her pleasure, and you are pushing a strong five on your best day, that might not be the woman for you. She's not going to really be too turned on by what you're doing. But if you learn how to hit it where you need to hit it, she may not feel the pain, but you can still bring some pleasure. How much is too much masturbation? There is no such thing as too much masturbation. Now, you will eventually start being tired and shit because of all of the orgasms that you're bringing to yourself. But there's really no such thing as too much masturbation. I can't think of any time, any one period where you can masturbate too much. Now you can orgasm too much. You can You can come too many times, and it does start to cause medical issues, uh, and not medical issues in the sense of like you're gonna get sick, but you will, because every time, especially for men, every time that you ejaculate, you're releasing energy. Like that protein really is just that. It is protein. That's why you come as much as you can in the summertime. You store up those nuts for the winter, um, or vice versa. Um, but every time that you ejaculate, you release energy from your body, and if you do that too often, and this is not just masturbation. This is masturbation and having sex, and I actually speak from personal experience on this. You can start to have blackout spells. You can start to pass out, because you're releasing way too much of your personal protein. Um, if you're masturbating, 3 4 times a day, you might want to just have that psychologically checked out, because you've really surpassed a sex addict at that point. That you've got to really masturbate that much, but there's really not too much masturbation. Just as with anything, jack off responsibly. Um, Absolutely, you got to store them nuts up when you need to. Um, let's see. Should you still use protection during oral sex? I want everybody who is listening to the sound of my voice right now. Absolutely. If you think that you cannot catch a sexually transmitted disease during oral sex, you are living in denial. You can still catch a sexually transmitted disease, um, chlamydia, gonorrhea. These can still live inside of the the mouth, and you can catch a sexually transmitted disease from it, as well as herpes. Um, I don't think there's any reported cases that I know of, and I can research this to make sure that I'm not saying this wrong. I don't know if there's any reported cases of someone catching HIV from oral sex. However, on the flip side of that, if someone has bad gums and they bleed from their gums, then yes, you absolutely can catch HIV from oral sex. Bottom line, if you're not really in a long-term committed relationship with the person that you're in the bed with at that moment, um, you should use uh, um, a condom or a dental dam for women. And for those who don't know what that is, I'll explain. But you should use a condom or a dental dam anytime there's oral sex or being performed. Honestly, a dental dam is basically a um, it's like a condom. It got latex and they have there's some of that made out of plastic, but you basically just put it over the um, the vaginal area. This way, the woman can still feel what you're doing without you actually getting the fluids into your mouth. Um, so most definitely, I can't say it enough. If you're with somebody and you're not in a monogamous relationship with them, use um, some type of protection during every sexual act. Um, there is no safe part of the body that you will not catch a STD from. So definitely, definitely. Um, is it normal to pass gas during sex? Oh, excuse me, during an orgasm. This is a real question. This is a real question, and I'm gonna give y'all a real answer. Unfortunately, yes, it is actually normal to pass gas during an orgasm because when you climax, the muscles around your genitals, including your sphincter muscle, relax. So it's not unusual for a little gas to escape or for you to all out fucking fart. Like it's not it's not unnatural and it's not abnormal. It's kind of what your body just does because your body's relaxing when it's coming through when it's going through a climax or orgasm. So yeah, it's this next one is from a woman. Um, and I'm kind of rolling through these, so I'm gonna slow down. Since no one has any questions that they want to ask, damn it, yeah, let me tell you. Sounds like somebody's passed some gas during an orgasm. Shout out for Level Cuts and Styles. Thanks for joining the party. Um, no, no. Let's keep the party going. um, this next one is from a woman, and it says, "I had a dream about having sex with another woman. Am I gay or bisexual?" So just because you're having a dream about being with another woman, that does not make you gay or bisexual. It kind of just makes you a woman, because in my opinion, this is opinion. This is not any kind of factual information. In my opinion, all women think about being with other women. Like at some point in their life, they think about it. So if you have a dream, basically a dream is just your subconscious coming to the front of your brain. That's it. So it's something that you've had in the back of your mind, or you watched a movie or something like that, and it's been stuck in your mind, and your dream is just allowing that subconscious to surface. It's okay. It's okay. Now, if you start walking around and you start looking at women saying, that is not a dream, really. If you start walking around and you start finding women sexually attractive to you, then you may want to just get to your quiet place and just kind of ask yourself, is this something that you like, something that you really want to explore? Um, More women explore bisexual acts or women on women acts than you actually know. Um, it's not uncommon for women to explore that realm, and it doesn't make you any particular label. It doesn't force you to be labeled as anything. Um, it's just something that you've thought about, and that you're finding a way for that thought to surface. That's it. Um, by all means, like I said, if you start to find women attractive, sexually attractive, then explore that realm. See if you like it. If you don't, then you're not bisexual and you're not gay. Or I guess the politically correct thing is, because since we have the letters now, you're not lesbian or bisexual. Because I don't think lesbian women consider themselves gay for some reason. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the L and the G. I don't know. I just live here. That's it. Um, Now this next one, um, I do want to do some research while I'm actually reading this one, or after I read this one, um, because there's some actual science behind this next one. Um, can certain exercises really lead to better sex? Okay, that's not the one I actually want to do the research on. But can certain exercises lead to better sex? The answer is absolutely, 100%. So anything that you do that increases your stamina, increases your energy, um, a good cardiovascular routine, um, will definitely put you in a position where you can last longer during sex. Sex is an exercise, um, which is going to lead me to my next question. Sex is an exercise, and the better you build up your muscles, your lungs, then the longer you can last and the longer you can maintain, especially for guys. Like for women, most women, they're not really, exerting as much energy as a man. However, there are women who get very, very engaged in sex and they do exert a lot of energy. And the more you build up, your cardiovascular system, then the longer you will last. Um, which leads me to my next question, which is sex a good form of exercise? Yes, absolutely. Um, and I wanted to actually pull this up. So bear with me, hang out with me for 1 second. Okay, so is sex a good form of exercise? There y'all go. I just want to make sure I was looking at y'all while y'all looking at me. Um, the answer to that is yes. Men burn about um, 213 calories during a 30-minute sexual act. Um, and nope, I'm sorry. Um, Men burn 101 calories during a 30-minute sexual act. Women burn about 69 calories um, during a 30-minute sexual act. So, if you really want to know what to do, keep the party going. The longer you have sex, the more calories you're burning. So if you're the lazy type and you don't want to go to the gym, have sex. I like to call it sexercise. Um, some good, strong, exhilarating sex. If you keep your Fitbit or your Apple Watch on or your Android watch, you'll start to see if you start to exert too much energy, that exercise counter will pop on. Yes, sexercise. Yes, we'll go ahead and we'll tag that. Don, the unlicensed sex doctor, said it's exercise. Try it next time. Buy a Fitbit. Put a Fitbit on, or any type of exercise watch, right? And have some strong, exhilarating sex. I'm talking like where you sweating, and you sweating so much you can't even grasp the person. You, if you look down at your watch, it is now kicked into exercise mode because your heart is racing, you're burning calories. That's when you really want to keep the party going. Kick it into overdrive. Um, I have I have about three more questions. One, two, three, four more questions, and I'm gonna hold on to those because no one's dropping questions in my chat. So I'll save them. I'll come back. We'll take a music break. This is another mix. We'll call it the threesome mix, and we'll keep the party going. We'll keep popping off and our legacy mix with me. Teflon Don is when I switch hats. Are you back in a minute? We'll answer the last 4 questions.
Yo, Ev, you did it again.
Your body language tell me that you mean business. One track, work it out, we doing fitness. I want it all day. Want it till Sunday. You got my heart racing now. Baby, when you come round, we can make it bounce.
Make it bounce. Yeah, yeah. Make it bounce. Make it bounce. Yeah, yeah.
Bounce, make it bounce, make it bounce, make it bounce. Yeah, baby, where you there? Them girl never there. Boy, I got that fire, that is hot pepper. Sipping on Henny, we be going so far on the city. When I got you with me, when I got you with me. Who got the keys to my bimmer? Wetting up the sheets, I got you sweating. In for a pound, in for a penny. I just want my Lizzie, separate my spaghetti. Your body language tell me that you mean business. One track, work it out, we doing fitness. I want it all day. Monday to Sunday. You got my heart racing. Baby, when you come round, we can make it bounce.
Make it bounce. Yeah, yeah. Make it bounce. Make it bounce. Yeah, yeah.
Bounce, make it bounce. Make it bounce, make it bounce. Oh, more you know, go pay. Family, Big Daddy ballers, they don't play. Money no be get it. I must say, chauffeur, give it to me fast. No delay, I just wanna vibe. Mix like blender. Say you wanna take body, can not slender. Love me, jelly, love me tender. Then I go bend for you, oh surrender. Your body language tell me that you mean business. One track, work it out, we doing fitness. I want it all day.
Ashley, conference the call.
With who?
Chastity,
Hey,
long time of a city.
this not sound safe. Want me now?
Let me tell you now a little story. Me have a man, why have a woman when don't know about me. Boy, me know a she, but she don't know me. The body make me happy, do me not own it. This is the original side chick song. Me open up my feelings for your next gal, man. Me know it wrong, but it never plan. Normally me a wife, me no whole side bitch position. This is not my style and I saw me tan. Me open up my feelings for your next gal, man. Me know it wrong, but it never plan. Normally me a wife. Me no like fun, and if you lie, me no forgive. Some I feel a little better if I me him cheat with. When you are the wife, you don't know who else in my frig. Oh, when you're on the side of you, we matter everything. Him rate me highly, while me treat me like a wifey. Have a respect, non-text when him beside me. The only thing I say we lucky and we private. And if me see them pan the gram, me have to avoid it. Most him know me nah go confront no girl. Not the type of search and contact no girl. If me see them together, me in my feelings, but still me nah leave him. This is the original side chick song. Me open up my feelings for your next gal, man. Me know it wrong, but it never plan. Normally me a wife, me no whole side bitch position. This is not my style and I saw me tan. Me open up my feelings for your next gal, man. Me know it wrong, but it never plan. Normally me a wife. A man is always gonna cheat, I benefit him. Give me anything I want, so me nah go stress him. Prefer know who him a fuck than be the victim. Cause if I find out from a stranger, me I go left him. And I like me, no know my words, my well alert. Me can't get hurt, we ever a flirt. It make me happy, so me I go make it work. Me comfortable, even though me on a first. Was special occasions I heard, yeah. Me get for saying the after the birthday. If me see them together, me in my feelings, but still me nah leave him. The original side chick song. Be open up my feelings for your next gal, man.
Alright, a short music break, but a music break nevertheless. Welcome back for those who have just joined. The Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I try to do what I do. For those of you who have just joined, we are talking about sexual questions that people ask. Um, I think I left off with sexercise. We were talking about sexercise. So I read a little bit while I was during the video break. I read a little bit further into that. So you do have to do this consistently because 30 minutes of sexual activity burns about. It's actually about 150 calories. But you need to burn about 3,500 calories to lose a pound. So it's not like, one sex session you're going to drop a pound. But if you do this consistently, if you do a couple of 30-minute sessions a day times 5 days a week, it'll start to drop. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So on to the next one. Is cyber sex really cheating? Is cyber sex really cheating? Yes, it is. Cyber sex is cheating because there is a live person on the other end of that you're actually talking to, imagining that you're with, and cheating actually starts in the mind. It's not a physical thing. You cheat in your mind well before you've cheated physically. So yes, cyber sex is technically cheating. Not everybody considers that. So I'm going to go ahead and add the caveat that is my opinion. If you're having cyber sex with someone, then you're technically cheating, or at least in the beginning stages of cheating on the one that you're with. So it is what it is, and don't throw rocks at the messenger. Just stop doing it. Yeah, cyber sex, yeah. Let's see. I've never had an orgasm during sexual intercourse. Is there something wrong with me? This came from a woman. This is a question from a woman. And I'm going to say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. 70% of women don't orgasm during intercourse without direct clitoral stimulation. That is a fact. You can fact check me on that. Depending on where you go, that number may go from 70 to 80 to 90. It just depends. But the research that I've done says 70% of women do not have an orgasm without clitoral stimulation. And that's actually two reasons. One, women don't know where their other G spot is, and for two, men have no clue where the other G spot is. So actually, figuring it out where those G spots are other than the clitoris, and actually making that a focal point may allow for a female to orgasm during penetration sex, but it's just not typically going to happen unless they're just so emotionally stimulated that they're already there, and all you really got to do is touch their body and they'll come. But don't sit there and beat yourself up if you're not having an orgasm during penetration sex, because intercourse is basically the full gambit can be intercourse. But by penetration, if you're not having an orgasm, you're not weird, you're just a woman. I think that number is right. The number that I got that during my research was 70%, but I'm sure if you research it deep enough, you'll find 80 or 90%. Um, it's nothing's a definite, but that's your deviation point. 70 to 90% of women do not have an orgasm during penetration sex. Um, is pulling out before ejaculation a safe method of birth control? To answer that question, I'll say it like this: go ahead and try it. Let's see if you pop up with a baby. No, it's not a safe form of it's not a safe form of birth control, but not for the reason that most people are going to think. So you cannot get pregnant from pre-cum. That's a myth. You cannot get pregnant from pre-cum. Pre-cum does not have sperm in it. That's why it's not the milky white. It's just a clear fluid. It does not carry anything that can get a woman pregnant. However, first cum was not until 30. Yeah, nah, this is real. That's real stuff. Women got to learn their own body, and you have to basically be able to express to your. So thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. You have to be able to express to the person that you're with what your where your pleasure senses are. Because if you don't know, he's not gonna know. He's not a woman, and unless he's done extensive research or really tried to figure this out, he's not gonna know. So thank you so much for that comment. I really appreciate it. So even though you can't technically get pregnant from pre-cum, when a guy is getting ready to ejaculate, he's already ejaculated before he actually knows he's ejaculating. That's not pre-cum. That's ejaculation. Unless he is really in touch with his body, he's going to let off some inside of the woman before he even realizes that he's actually in a full ejaculation or ejaculatory state. So no, that's not a safe form of birth control. Do not try it if you're going to use for birth control. And it doesn't stop an STD anyway, so if you're with somebody that you're scared to get pregnant, technically you're probably not planning on being with them long term, so put a condom on. You can tell, or excuse me, can you tell if someone has a sexually transmitted infection or sexually transmitted disease just by looking at them? Absolutely not. There is no vision test to tell whether somebody is infected by a sexually transmitted infection or disease or not. Don't play that game. Don't try to play that game. I'll tell you a really, really quick story. Back when I was in, I think I was in high school. I went to a program. It was a symposium teaching teenagers about sex and sexually transmitted diseases. And one of the young ladies who was very attractive, very good looking, looked very healthy. I was having a conversation with her, and through the conversation, about midway through, she alerted me that the reason that she was there was she was going to be one of the guest speakers. She was 17 and she had HIV. There was nothing about her that said she had HIV. Her story, that after she told me her story, I really felt for her situation. We actually carried on a very long friendship afterwards, but there was nothing about her that says that she was HIV positive. She was a really nice young lady. She, through medicine, she was able to, and is still able to, live a long life. And that was when I was 17 years old, so she's still living to the best of my knowledge. But there's no way to look at somebody and say they have a sexually transmitted disease. There is no. There's no test that you can do. When I was younger, they used to do this stupid stuff. Guys used to take earwax and put it in the female's vagina and say, if it starts to burn, she has a sexually transmitted disease. No, if it starts to burn, that means you just exposed her body to a bacteria, stupid. It's gonna burn. If you're unclear whether or not somebody has sexually transmitted disease and you want to know for sure, get tested before you have sexual intercourse with them. Both of you get tested. Look at each other's test results. That's the only way to know. Other than that, put a condom on. And condoms are not 100%, so stop sleeping around. Is there really a difference? Be careful, people for sure. Or be careful, people for sure. All that looks good ain't good. That's right. All that glitters ain't gold. You said that one right, homie. And some of it is fool's gold, and you be the fool. Is there really a difference between, is there a 10-year difference between a woman and a man's sexual peak? Yes, there actually is. So men reach their sexual peak or their peak of their sexual prowess in their 20s. I think it's their mid to late 20s. Women reach it in their latter years of their latter part of their 30s, mid to latter part of their 30s. There is about a 10-year gap. That's not an exact science though, because it just depends on the individual. Some individuals will reach their sexual peak. For men, will reach their sexual peak in their 20s, but it'll still carry on for a greater period of their life. Some women are also sexually, very sexually aroused during their 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, and they actually will reach their peak in their 40s. So it just all depends, but as a more so than not situation, there is about a 10-year gap. What does that mean? Ladies, find someone 10 years younger than you. It's just, it's not an exact science, but it is a fact. And this is right here is the most popular question asked about sex. And then I actually have some sexual myths that I want to go through as well after this. But the most common question about sex is, what is the average, or how long should a sexual act actually last? I know there's some guys right now that's going, please say 5 minutes. Please say 5 minutes. It's not. It's not 5 minutes, homie. You need to get your stamina up. Yes, there's more to come, literally. So the average length, or the length of time that a sexual act should last, on average, it's about 44 minutes. It's about 44 minutes. And that honestly just comes from stamina, how long you can last stamina wise. That cardio, getting that cardio up so that you actually have the lung capacity to last, and how long you can last before an orgasm. Now, I've said this on previous shows. There is a way to force yourself to ejaculate, which basically will give you energy. Going back to the earlier questions about exercise and exerting yourself. But if you can pace yourself, you can surpass that 44 minutes. But once again, that goes back to the connection between the man and the woman, because even if a man can pace himself, keep himself from ejaculating, if she's not connected to you, she's not gonna feel it for that entire length of time. If you don't know how to mix it up, change positions, move from penetration to oral sex, stimulate the rest of her body, stimulate her mind prior to, then you may not get 44 minutes out of her. You're gonna get more than five. So yes, those 5 minute brothers is still not 5 minutes. If you go 5 minutes with a woman and she was cool with that shit, she ain't want to be in the bed with you anyway. Just bottom line, bar none. Like, if she was cool with 5 minutes, she'd have been cool if you did nothing at all. That was basically just you using her body to masturbate, and she got nothing out of it. And you stood up like you was Macho Man, and she was like, "Please leave now." So 44 minutes is the average time, but you can make it last longer. As Keith Sweat said, you can make it last forever. It just all depends on that connection and how well you two can stay connected. A couple of sexual myths. Sex or can sex give you a heart attack? Come on, are you freaking serious? Hell yeah, it can. So that is an actual true fact. Sex can give you a heart attack, because it's all cardio. Like your heart is racing, and if your heart really cannot keep up with how much pressure that you're putting into it, you can have a heart attack. So if you have a heart condition, a couple of things I'm going to say on that, and I'm going to actually come back. I want to see the camera on this one, because I lost a really good friend to this. What I'm getting ready to say. A lot of young guys these days are using drugs like Cialis and what's the that's right, you ain't doing it right if she ain't craving you. But a lot of young guys are using Cialis and what's the other blue pill for to make themselves last longer. Viagra. There you go. Thank you so much. And Viagra to make yourself last longer. If it's not necessary for you to use it, and I'm speaking to all of you young men out there, I'm speaking to the whole gambit of men, whether you're young, whether you're in your 40s, and you think that you need this to actually last longer. If you do not have a problem with, if you don't have an erectile dysfunction issue, do not use these drugs. It will do damage to your heart. I lost a really good friend who is about 7 years younger than me, and he died of a heart attack because he was using, I believe it was Cialis he was using to last longer during sex, and it did a lot of damage to his heart, and he died of a heart attack, and he didn't even make it to 40. So do not play with any type of erectile dysfunction drug if you don't need it, because if you need it, part of what's happening is you're not getting enough blood flow to your genitals, and that's what's causing you to have erectile dysfunction. But if you don't need it, don't use it. Oysters and chocolate are turn-ons. There is no study that shows any type of sexual enhancing effects from oysters. They do not contain a lot of zinc, which is good for sperm health. Excuse me. They do contain a lot of zinc, which is good for sperm health, but otherwise it doesn't sexually stimulate you in any way. Chocolate is tied to lower blood pressure and better functioning of the blood vessels, which may enhance your blood flow, which like I said, gets that blood to your genital area, your penis. Um, but this is all speculation. There's nothing that says eating chocolate is going to make you a better lover in bed. And there's nothing that says if you feed her oysters, she's fucking you that night. Just nothing. Um, Men think about sex every 7 seconds. This is a myth because I think about it every fucking second. Um, it's a myth. Um, but scientists have actually did a study and they debunked it. Um, Women tend to think that men think about sex more than them. I know a person that had a heart attack while having sex, cheating on his wife. Damn. Well, damn. It's like, damn. Because somebody got to call the ambulance. You got some explaining to do. Damn. I hope they live through it. But they probably got killed by their wives afterwards. So there are aphrodisiacs out there that you can eat. Do the research. I don't have time to research them all right now. I know in the Jamaican culture, goat has an aphrodisiac sense to it. I know a female who became very turned on after eating some goat stew. It was a good night. But chocolate and oysters, there's nothing that says it is. And men and women, just depending on who you are, you both equally think about sex about the same amount. There's nothing that says men do it more. We've talked about the women experiencing sexual orgasm during penetration. Can sex affect sports performance? This has actually been debated by coaches very often. But I'm going to look at this like the answer that they give is kind of hit or miss. But I'm going to give this to you. Yo, you don't like no goat stew? Boy. Yeah. The goat, it's minus water? Goat stew? Shh. Boy. It's good eatings right there. That's some really good eatings. So looking at the last question, can sex affect sports performance? It just think about it realistically. You're exerting energy. So if you exert energy, a lot of energy the night before, you're not going to be able to perform as well the next day. The answer that the physicians gave, not the case. I was answering. Oh, the note was about the sex question. So, not the case. You don't think that sex the night before can really affect your sports performance the next day, or now I know Mr. Q, he's actually an average sports fan, and he actually someone who plays a lot of sports. So I'm gonna, since I don't play a lot of sports, sex is my sports, it's exercise, remember. So I'm gonna take his word for it as someone who plays sports, and I'm assuming as a man he has sex, so he knows both sides of that coin. Okay. I have just been debunked. So I was wrong. It does not affect your sports performance by having sex. Okay. I'm going to try to find one more good one, and then having sex can cause a pregnant woman to go into labor. The belief is so persuasive that even some medical professionals have suggested that their full-term patients should give it a try. But not only does having sex near your due date not induce labor, in some cases it can actually delay it. This is doctor shit I'm reading right now. This is because I would have thought for sure it will induce labor. Because I've made some females feel like they were going through labor and they wasn't even pregnant. Ha! But it will not induce labor, and according to doctors, it can sometimes delay it. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So, if you're not training properly, I would say not so much. So what you're basically saying is kind of going back to that previous. If you train properly, if you got your cardiovascular up, at peak condition, then you can have sex the night before. But if you're Dr. Don, no doubt, unlicensed. I have no medical experience, but I guess you're right. So if you're not in peak performance, then having sex the night before a sports activity can, inhibit it. But if you're in top shape, I guess you can still beat it. Not literally, but you can still have sex and still perform well the next day. All right, that's it for me, yo. I hope y'all had a blast on this one. If you didn't, let me know in the comments and we'll come back with something else. Next week, we're going to have some more fun. We're going to be talking about more of the actual intercourse stuff, the penetration that, yeah. We're going to be talking more about that. I'm going to not have a guest, but I am going to keep you all very mentally stimulated, because that's what I do. As the unlicensed sex doctor, I just make love to your mind, and I do it for an hour straight. Well, minus the video mix. That's definitely try to stimulate your mind. So, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, we are iLegacy Media. Please check out the website, iLegacyMedia.com. You can check out all of our shows in one location. We have the Threesome Show. We have tomorrow night, the new episode of Quiet Storm with Mr. Q will be on. And then on Thursday, the new episode of True Weight with Miss Amanda Alston will be on. So definitely check out the website. You can check out our previous seasons. You can check out our previous shows. You ain't got to search all over YouTube. But I still recommend that if you're watching tonight, please like and subscribe. Definitely like and subscribe. Subscriptions is what gets us to a level where we can actually, benefit from what we do every single week for you all. We still got another show that's up and coming. Please be on the lookout for that show, but we're going to drop more information about the show as it gets close to the time. But for me, I'm out. That's my hour. There's only one direction for iLegacy Media to go, and with y'all help, we're going to get there. Be easy, people.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.